Good afternoon. My name is Kate Labriola-Garentz, and I am Chatham's Associate Director of Alumni Engagement. I'm pleased to welcome you to President Rhonda Phillips' first virtual alumni update and Q&A. Thank you all for your continued support and for joining us for this special event. First, a quick introduction of Dr. Phillips. She has more than 30 years of experience as an innovative academic administrator, scholar, and author. She joined Chatham following the completion of her decade-long role as the inaugural dean of the John Martinson Honors College at Purdue University, a pioneering 3,000-student residential honors college that under her leadership was named one of the top 20 honors colleges in the U.S. Dr. Phillips was awarded the honorary title of inaugural dean emerita at Purdue. Dr. Phillips has a PhD in city and regional planning from Georgia Tech, holds a Master in Science and Economics from Georgia Tech, and a Master of Science in Economic Development from the University of Southern Mississippi, where she also earned her bachelor's degree. She is a 3-time Fulbright recipient. She is the author or editor of over 30 academic books, including the textbook Introduction to Community Development, used by students and practitioners around the world. Her research focus is on community and sustainable well-being studies, economic and technology-based development, and on making the places we live better for all. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Rhonda Phillips, Chatham's 20th president.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. And thank you, Kate, for that lovely introduction. And before I begin my presentation, I want to just take a moment and thank you all for joining the webinar today, but also supporting Chatham University. We could not be where we are without all of you and your support. And so we're grateful for that and very proud of our alums. I also want to acknowledge last Friday, we had the investiture ceremony and alumni reunion weekend. That was a lovely event. The sun was shining. It was gorgeous. It was almost magical, or I guess it was magical, because I got to meet so many of our alums. And also our staff with Advancement Alumni Affairs just did a remarkable job of all the different events, the coordination, making Chatham look beautiful, and having a wonderful time with our alumni attendees and our guests from many places. So thank you for that. I also want to dive in here with a few updates. First and foremost, we have our new strategic action plan, which is built on some of the things from before, but also around 3 areas that we know are top of mind for us here at Chatham, but also our alums, our partners, and others. And we're calling it Chatham Renew. And it's for an aggressive 2-year plan for this current year and then next year through fiscal year 25. There are 3 elements of it, and then we have a lot of actions under each of those, but I'll just give you the overview level. It's live on our website now as of today, so if you want to see more details, please visit that. First and foremost, we're going to further enhance academic excellence. So we're doing program reviews. We're making sure that our strongest programs continue to be so and help make them even better. We're going to look at those programs that may have been losing enrollment over the years and see how we can revamp those, reinvigorate those with innovative new ways of thinking about academic programming so that we can continue to do things that we know that we are strong for and that want to make even stronger. So we're knee-deep in academic program review that will continue the rest of this year as well as into next year, but we're making changes pretty rapidly. And we also want to enhance the campus experience with both the program academic review, but also making sure that we are able to deliver the student programming to make this educational journey transformative and the high quality of standards that we've always had at Chatham. Another element of that campus improvement is to make sure that our historic jewels here at the Shadyside campus are well kept and kept up to form, that the Arboretum is in good shape. So we're developing some programs around capital improvement budgeting, which is long-term improvement of our physical facilities. We have 3 locations and we're one university. So we want to look across the whole and make sure that we're tackling all those issues that we need to make sure that we are polished in the bright jewel that we are here at Shadyside and also at Eden Hall, as well as Eastside, where most of our health and graduate programs are located. And the final part of that is fiscal and operational sustainability. We have been steadily improving and making process improvements We have whittled down now over 60% of the deficit that we had coming into this new administration. That was unexpected, as many of you know, and probably seen emails over the summer about that. But we have really good news to report. We have turned the corner. We have a lot of that behind us now. We've improved our business operations processes. We're putting in new software. We have been able to increase so many efficiencies that we've been able to reduce that debt significantly by over 60%. Still have a ways to go, but we can get there. And our goal is to get there by the end of next fiscal year, to have a balanced budget while at the same time investing and increasing revenues and enrollment across those opportunities here at Chatham. So a lot of good things to report. We are not going anywhere except up. We are here for the long term. We will continue to provide students with that excellent experience that all of you knew, and we will do that into the future. And the other good positive news I have to share with you is that our continued undergraduate enrollment continues to increase. We're maybe one of two in the whole region. And if we look statewide, we'd probably be surprised how many are not growing. But we are, and I think it's that unique combination that Chatham offers. We have our strong traditional arts and sciences, but at the same time, we have health sciences. We have Eden Hall with its sustainability programs. It makes us different. And we have this beautiful campus here at Shadyside, as well as our other locations that attract students. So we have 422 new undergraduate students beginning with this August of this year. That's 10% more than last year, and it's the second largest class that we've ever had here at Chatham. We also have 334 new graduate students. Now that's down a little bit from last year, but not that much. So we're looking at ways, again, to improve our graduate programming, revamp those that need it, reorient them, get them to the point where we need it so we can continue to grow graduate. I just want to say real quickly that higher education graduate enrollment is declining nationally. And one of the big reasons is that it's cyclical in nature. So when the economy is really strong, there's a lot of jobs out there, people are less compelled or less induced or incentivized to go to grad school. So we're in one of those areas right now. It may pick up again, we hope sooner rather than later, but we don't want anything to shake up the economy too badly so that everybody is coming back to grad school. But what we're going to do is focus on those areas that are growing, like health sciences. You may not know this, but your alma mater issues the most degrees, for example, in physician assistants than anyone else, any other institution in Western Pennsylvania, and one of the top producers in the whole state and region. So we are growing some of the areas like that, and we will continue to do that. We'll look for other opportunities too. And I also invite our alums to support Chatham in a variety of different ways. One is that we'll have the fall appeal fairly soon. We're going to look at ways to support the Shadyside historic infrastructure. We've reinvigorated a historic preservation committee, and that's led by one of our alums. We'll have an adopt a building program where classes and others can say, okay, we want to see our old dorm room revived, or we want to see the lobby of university residence, or any buildings across campus, particularly Shadyside, that we want to see that happen. So we have that program coming too. We also have Chatham Connect as a platform to connect alums to each other. So encourage you to find out more about that. It also has the added benefit of connecting you to current students. And they need your support and your mentorship, even if it's just a word of encouragement or just a sounding board for ideas they have. Who knows, you may be in the same area with your career and your life path that they want to explore. And it means a lot to students to have those alumni connections. We also have Chatham Champions. That's a new cost-effective way to engage more alumni, both locally and across the country. They are champs if they reach 3 of 5 key traditions. These include giving and service, advocacy, spirit, and success. And so it's another recognition program and a way to encourage alums to participate with us. Now, I've talked fast. I've tried to cover quite a bit, but now I want to open it up to our Q&A, because that's where I learn and hear from you. And also I can hopefully get more specific about things at top of mind for you. So without further ado, let's turn it over to Kate, who's going to moderate the questions.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a couple fun ones to get things started. So first, Dr. Phillips, what is your favorite place on any of our Chatham campuses?
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm a longtime advocate and participant in historic preservation. So I could hardly wait to get here at Shadyside campus to see our beautiful historic treasures and jewels. So I have to say, pretty much all of Shadyside campus, if it's historic, I'm there. And then I also have to say, I really enjoy going out to Eden Hall, and it's a beautiful farm, and I love that too. And I have to also point out that my little part-time office there is actually in Mueller House, which is a historic property. So they knew exactly how to cater to my interest out there as well. So I can't say that East Side is historic at all, but it's very lovely, and it has great open space, and it's wonderful for our health program. So I enjoy going there too. I try to spend one day a week at Eden Hall and one afternoon a week at East Side. The rest of the time I'm at Shadyside, so that I can get to know more of the students, faculty, staff across our 3 locations, which we're very lucky to have these resources.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Lovely, thank you. What initiative are you most excited about as president?
Wow, there are so many. I'm really thrilled that we're making so much progress this quickly, and that gives me a little bit more breathing room to focus on the long-term sort of strategic future of Chatham. And I say long-term, and I'm generally talking a year or 2 at this point, but also for the longer, 3, 5, and 10 year. But immediately looking at opportunities like how can we expand what we do in good ways that attract even more wonderful students. And one of those is, for example, some of you may know about the Thompson House. This is an old historic home that was donated to Chatham. It's at the corner of Fifth and it's at the corner of Fifth and Woodland Road, and it's sort of the face of Chatham campus. So I'm involved right now with a group of us here at Chatham to try to pull together some money, some funds that will be coming from a funder, and renovate that as an alumni house or a welcome center, the sort of the face of Chatham University, so that visitors, guests, alums, partners, students, whomever can stop in, find out more about Chatham, learn about the Arboretum, download a QR code to do some guided tours, and really have that sort of community-facing space in that lovely historic property. So I'm very excited about that because it also will include some student space as well. And I'm excited about our opportunities to strengthen existing programs in some of those areas, while at the same time looking at strategic new investments. And there's quite a few that are on the table that we're exploring with some market research and some feasibility, and talking faculty, staff, and community partners and others and students to see how this resonates. But there's a couple opportunities to add some significant programming that would expand our capabilities, both across our locations, but particularly in more of the applied sciences and technology, which is they're very popular. I'll hold off naming what those are at the moment because we're doing our feasibility now to see what will work. But if you have ideas or want to talk to me about it, please reach out. I'm excited for Chatham that we're looking at these opportunities and have a lift. Another thing that I can mention to you already is that the board recently signed off on us exploring the feasibility of lifting up a new school of business and enterprise. So we have some wonderful business programs here. They're currently now part of arts and sciences. They need their own presence, their own school. This is big, and we think that we will have quite a few more students interested in this. Have 3 areas with that new school. One is sustainable business management, which builds on Eden Hall. We have faculty there working in the space. The other is healthcare business management. And again, we have our health sciences at our college on the east side. And the third is a new area, which is sports business management. We're sitting in Pittsburgh, which is a very sports-centric city that I've quickly learned. And we have quite a few alums excited about that one too. All of these will be infused with this idea around sustainable lens, going back to our long tradition here at Chatham, but also with an ethos and an eye towards making sure that all are included and have accessibility. We have a strong legacy and history, as many of you know, of women's leadership, and it's leadership for all. And I really want to lean into that with our School of Business and Enterprise, which will help others see how different we are here at Chatham in a very good way and push forward on that. So I'm excited about these new opportunities very much. And also about meeting more alums. It seems like everyone I meet has a wonderful story to share about Chatham with me. And also I ask for ideas and what you would like to see Chatham become and how to be a part of that.
Thank you so much. That all sounds so exciting. Can you please give us an update on what total enrollment is currently for undergraduate, graduate combined?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mentioned just briefly, we have 422 new undergraduate students, our second largest class. That's a 10% growth. We've continued to grow in undergraduate. All total, we're at 2,300. We have a little over 1,500 undergrads, and then the rest are graduate students. And so we are doing well that way. I feel like we've got a little room for some more growth, perhaps up to 10% more. At some point, we will reach our limits in terms of the Shadyside campus. We have more, growth potential over at East Side. We certainly have a lot of potential out at Eden Hall. The sweet spot is somewhere keeping it over 2,000. Between 2,000 and 3,000 is a very good spot for where we are in our size. Possibly look again at a potential of adding, say, online capacity back in a very impactful way. We could even go a little more than that if we're not having to find space, for example, for first time in college students. But even that's a really good challenge to have. And we're looking right now on campus on how to make more spaces available for our first time in college students so they can be with us at least that first year and hopefully the second year and beyond in many cases. On campus is what I mean. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. What strategic partnerships would you like to explore in the Pittsburgh region related to Chatham Renew?
Oh, absolutely. We're already knee deep in those. And I have a sort of criteria that I use with partnerships, which is, yes, there are partnerships that help us increase recognition and standing. And there also need to be partnerships that help us at Chatham have some sort of benefit so that they're mutually beneficial, that it's not a one-way kind of thing, but rather it's something where both organizations can benefit. That's sort of my line of reasoning and thinking. And we already are exploring several of those. We have quite a few organizations that are excited about some of the new and expanded offerings for academic programs who've already said, we're on board, we're ready. We have several foundations that have already offered, yes, let us be part of that. We would like to do that with you in Chatham. And so that's really encouraging. I've been trying to meet with our community leaders. We have, for example, our elected officials. Many of them have already offered to help in terms of going after, say, for example, state funds for improving infrastructure. For example, improving the area around Fifth Ave where we could have more and safer pedestrian thoroughfares and tie that back to, say, multimodal transportation, with the, they've changed the name, the PRT, the Pittsburgh Regional Transport Authority, I think is, I get all my Pittsburgh acronyms, still I've got to get those straight now. But either way, I'm welcome the opportunity. And if you have ideas or connections, please let me know, because that's, as we all know, that works better when you get an introduction or you get a way to have a connection rather than just go cold calling, trying to build support.
Thank you. Part of your background was the start and growth of the Honors College at Purdue. What are some of your thoughts on how to increase alumni engagement and attendance at events like Reunion?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I leaned heavily on alums from Purdue to help build the Honors College. It was a brand new college, so I had to pull in alums who would have been in the Honors College had there been one when they were there, and they were instrumental in helping things happen. I really feel like, you know, having connection points for our current students with alums is paramount, is key for their success as students. But also, I find that alums enjoy being part of the current experience and seeing what the educational journey is like for our students. And so I feel like, you know, being able to connect those around events, making sure that we have students at participating in groups when we come to campus, when we invite alums back, you know, sending groups of students even out to meet with alums at your organizations or different areas and different venues. It's all critical because, you know, universities are different kinds of organizations, but we have this very much an honor of being able to help someone transform their lives with education. And that's a lifelong connection. It doesn't stop the day you receive your degree. It continues because that's your alma mater. That's where you had this journey. And I want to find even more ways to connect our alums back to our current students and for that matter, to our faculty and staff, because I believe that we all benefit by being members of this community.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Many of the local universities also have business schools and offer undergrad and grad offerings. What research has been done to make sure that Chatham wouldn't be entering an already saturated market?
Great question. A couple things. One is, first of all, the School of Business and Enterprise, we know we cannot compete with the giant schools out there and the big ones here, even in the area. So we're making ourselves different and a little more unique. And that's going to reflect what Chatham's strengths are. And that makes it more viable. Business is already in our top 3 major programs here. And we get this request from students all the time to make it even bigger and better and to have more offerings. So we feel like we will have, you know, an internal market already with our current students, but also it will help with recruiting in many ways. The sports degree is going to be very different from the current ones offered in the area. And the healthcare, we've been in that space since the 90s. We were one of the first entrants into graduate healthcare from a private nonprofit, small to mid-sized institution like us. Many others have come on board now. For example, we used to be, you know, one of a handful of programs in some of the health sciences, and now there's 20 or more competitors. And so we have to constantly look at part of that program review. Are we pricing ourselves correctly for that market? Are we staying on top of trends? Are we being responsive to the marketplace and what they need? So we have very much committed to this idea of doing our academic program reviews and doing this regularly and periodically so that we have those evaluations in place. We also did a little fundraising and got some funds in to buy a access to research service. And this service, we have this data for a year, so we can go into the databases. It also entails having feasibility studies done for us with very valid data. And so what I've asked is for all the new programs to have a complete feasibility study done with market data, with enrollment projections or price points as well, and what those trends could look like, both the regional market as well as a beyond Western Pennsylvania, because there are some of these programs, particularly around sustainability and some of the technologies that would have a national market, not only a Pittsburgh market. So I believe that we can do this in a way that's going to lift it up to be both feasible and long-term investments for us as a university that will pay off in terms of more students and more standing, more recognition, so that we can continue to prosper.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so some alumni are sharing that they feel like they are surprised to learn about the financial issues facing Chatham. Can you address the communication strategy to alumni moving forward and your confidence in Chatham's ability to close the debt gap?
Yes, absolutely. Well, there was a couple of different communication pieces went out before I arrived on campus, and then as I was arriving. And I believe that we need more regular updates. We tend to do things on our through our website through Pulse, but I believe that we probably need to go back and revisit doing more regular updates. I mean, there is a alumni email sort of newsletter that goes out. And I think we probably need to do even more to stay on top of that. Because one of the disturbing things that I had heard back is that some alums, think, well, is this the end of Chatham? And I can reassure you, it is not. It was a surprise to the new administration coming on board. It was a surprise to our board members because the information was not shared until it was sort of discovered in late spring. And to their credit, the board took immediate action and really have done a lot of work that is above and beyond the call of volunteers to step up and make this right and to put it back in good order. I knew this coming in. I'd already verbally accepted when this came out. And in my mind, everything that attracted me to Chatham before I knew about this deficit is still here. Now, the deficit, when I look at it, is okay. It's a big number, but as a whole of the budget, it's really not that huge. We have assets. We have a lot of people committed to Chatham and its future here. And I felt like it wasn't insurmountable. And I'm really happy to report that at this point, 3.5 months into this, that we have been able to manage, whittle down at least a little over 60%, maybe more 65 to 70 at this point, that deficit. And that our plan with this very aggressive 2-year Chatham Renew plan by the end of fiscal year 25 is to be in balanced budget status by then. At the same time, many of you are in business or in organizations, you know how hard that is to do. And you also know that we can't cut our way out of it. It's a little too big for that, but we can cut and we can increase efficiencies at the same time as we invest strategically in new or expanded existing programs that will increase our revenue. And that's, we have to grow our way out of this in some ways too. I am confident that we can do that. I have already seen how this community can come together and address these issues. I've heard that Chatham has faced these things before. Esther Barazoni came and sat down with me. We had a long conversation. I learned a lot. And she said when she took over Chatham, and way back, and I forgot which year now, but it was over 25, maybe close to 30 years ago now. And she said she was faced with a very similar issue and a set of issues and set of fiscal concerns. My goal is to help Chatham have in place those processes, those software tools, those whatever else we need on advisory committee, the restructuring of some of the board committees to really have true oversight, the creation of a dashboard of key performance indicators where we can all know this, some more transparency with finances. Also, all of these are going to combine to ensure that we never get in this situation again, and that we know what is happening and that it's not obscured by situations. Now, part of this was obscured by large COVID monies it came into every institute of higher education essentially. And that sort of obscured some of this issue. But we've made smart decisions. We've increased our capabilities. We've increased our capacity to look and understand what the situation is. We're doing weekly and monthly reconciliations. That's never been done, to my knowledge, at Chatham. And we have put in processes that reflect more current, more innovative ways of fiscal management, but at the same time supporting our mission. Because in my mind, we have to be able to align our academic mission with what we're doing. And that's the first test. And we've got to preserve that excellent educational experience for our students. That is first and foremost driving all of this. But I am happy to share more details. I'm happy to send out regular updates. If we think a once a month update via email to the alums is needed, then we'll do it. If it's needed more, we'll do it more. But let me hear back from you, because I sort of fell into some of the things that were already done, but we can change that. And, I can't tell you the number of times I've heard people, sort of whisper to me or take me aside and say, well, that's not the way we do it at Chatham. And I say, well, we're going to do things differently now. And we're going to do it in a way that makes it better for Chatham and for all members of this community. So I'm happy to report that we've made much, much progress. And again, we're doing fine. We're doing much better than we expected at this point. We have turned that corner and we're only going up from here.
Thank you. Thank you for that thorough response. And I think we all appreciate the transparency as well. How can alumni help participate in sustainability program changes or additions, specifically to cater to the manufacturing industry?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd really like to be able to get some groups together of alums who bring some expertise and insight and guidance from these areas to us. Because I can tell you, I've met sort of in passing, people say, well, I'm, from the engineering industry, or I do work in sustainability and related. I would really like to do sort of a call out to our alums to get those people involved so that they can see what's happening here at Chatham, see what's happening particularly at Eden Hall, and opportunities to lift that up even in bigger ways, and make sure that we know how our alums have this expertise and how we can connect it to what we're doing right now. So we also are doing a few other different things here at Chatham. We will have some advisory councils for our different major units. We've not really had that before in a way that brings in alums and partner and community partners in a bigger way. So, stay tuned for that. And if you're motivated to get involved, please let us know. And we also welcome, if you can't commit to time or, a lot of resources or energy or time at this time, you may have insights or connections to say, let us know, because sometimes you're connected to other industries and we need to be part of that. I do think we have an opportunity here in Pittsburgh. I mean, we're an affordable city. We have a lot of capacity, a lot of infrastructure. We have even more affordable housing than most of our competitor cities that are out there. And we're at a time and juncture in Pittsburgh history that Chatham and other institutions of higher ed can play a very meaningful role in helping determine what the future looks like in economic development for this region and beyond. And I'm excited about that too. And I think that, when I looked at Pittsburgh even more carefully, we've got a lot of resources and assets here that are sort of not as recognized as they should be. And part of that is this whole framework of how do we make a more sustainable future for Pittsburgh. And that includes, we lost a lot of our manufacturing industrial capabilities long ago with the decline of the steel industry, but we're building back in different areas as well. And there's a lot of talk about different areas that we can push forward. We do still have a strong industrial base in Pittsburgh and this whole region, and we build on that, and we make sure that we're addressing what workforce needs are, how we can partner with those employers. You may know that the healthcare industry is the largest employer in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania, for that matter. So we're working quite closely with our partners in healthcare for doing things like transition programs for their nurses from RN to BSN. It's a very popular program that we've recently held up, and they're excited and we're excited about this. But there's other opportunities too to do the same thing with other industries, and I'm excited to learn more about that. So let me know if you have ideas. I welcome them.
Great, thank you. Is there any thought of making university facilities available for rentals as a revenue stream? Example being the Eddy Theater.
I think we need to look at all of that. There's been talk already about we may have some facilities where we could do that. And I think, our relatively new facilities director, along with our person who's our CFO currently, are looking at ways to generate more revenue for that matter. One place that we do generate quite a bit of revenue is through our sports facilities. That may not have been here when you were here, but Graham Field is generating revenues pretty regularly. We need to resurface our varsity field. We could also get a little revenue production from that. That's on Shadyside campus, needs a new turf. So we're looking at ways to raise funds to do that because it would generate The same thing might happen with some of our structures, our historic structures, or other assets here at Shadyside, as well as Eden Hall. And in the past, Eden Hall has been a venue for some pretty big events, so we're looking at ways to increase revenue from that as well. So yes, again, let me know ideas, but also we are planning to move that forward as quickly as we can.
Thank you. What is the plan to retain and recruit quality faculty?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. We have a really good, strong, committed faculty here at Chatham. And I think that one of the ways that we can, sort of further retain them is to create that culture of recognition of the work that they do with our students and with also the work they're doing in research, engagement, service, and make sure that they feel recognized for that and are part of that, because that's what really helps lift up an institution, is the strength of your faculty. And I feel strongly that we need to continue to help celebrate them and create that culture of support. One of the things we've done recently, I heard this loud and clear even before I got to campus, that those faculty involved in research, whether it's applied or basic or engaged research, so their students participate a lot too, is that there was support, but they needed more support for research. So we created the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs. We have some services such as, making sure we have databases that you can go in and look for funding opportunities, both, all across the spectrum, federal, local, foundation, corporate, that they have access to these resources, as well as support for pre-award support, helping prepare those proposals, making sure that we've got that. And then also post-award, making sure that our business office and others are involved in a way that keeps that a seamless, good transition to managing grants and managing those funds. So we did lift that office up recently. We've named Emily Wilmore as director. We have some external resources that we're bringing to bear right now. We're just unfolding those. Literally another email went out today about some of those resources. And this is a national research group that I worked with when I was at Purdue. So I connected with them. They gave us a great discounted price on bringing some of those services here to Chatham. And so we have those services now through our new office. And so that kind of thing, making sure that we know what's top of mind and how to respond in ways that support our faculty, because that's really, that's the, I sort of like to say that sort of the soul of a university is your faculty. I mean, the students are always the heart, always, and I won't say what body part people call administrators. We'll just leave that be. But nonetheless, it's really important that we support our faculty, and I'm very committed to that. I came up through the ranks. I know what it's like to do this, and I know where some of the challenges are, and I'll do my best to try to help our faculty succeed.
That's appreciated. Thank you. A question. I benefited from the World Ready Women program in the late 90s, early 2000s, that emphasized global perspectives and study abroad at Chatham. How is Chatham supporting international education and opportunities for students to gain global perspective?
Absolutely. And you are exactly the kind of alum that I've been trying to find and reach out to. So please connect with us, because what we would like to do is sort of rebuild and reconfigure some of the things we've done international. We have an Office of International Student Support. They do so much work. We do have study abroad. We have various things that we try to help with. Our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Office and Belonging Office is doing some work around intercultural competencies and awareness. So we're really eager to do more in this space. So a couple of things. The Boyer Commission on Higher Education came out last year in 2022, and what's the future of higher education? And one of the big elements they talk about is world readiness. Now, at Chatham, you were talking about this over a long course. And these are programs essentially to do things like intercultural awareness, make sure that our students have experiences in learning across perspectives, working, in collaborative teams, having some experiences that take students to other cultures and experience that. And I think we need to improve it here at Chatham. We have some of that already, but I think we need more. And I think we need to make this an experience that all of our students have access to. And for example, we're not that far from Canada here in Pittsburgh. We could take, just like we did, back at other places I've worked, we load up a big bus and we get our passports and we go to Canada. We go visit and get those students that may have never had the opportunity to leave the US an experience that's really affordable and it's feasible and it can be done sort of quickly. We also want to embed more of world readiness concepts, helping our students be ready for world citizens into our curriculum and into our co-curricular so that we can have more opportunities for them. By the same token, I'd really like to see us lift up more programming, maybe even an office in the area of international and national scholarships. Now, these are things like pursuing the Fulbrights, pursuing the Gates, Cambridge, and all of those, helping our students prepare for those opportunities and going after those awards, because that funds sometimes already here undergraduate studies, but it also funds graduate studies and opportunities to learn across the world, things like teaching English in another country. So I really like for us to lift that up. So if you know of any of our students that have held, or alums that have held any of those awards in the past, Marshall, Mitchell, any of those, Fulbright, love to hear from you all, but I'd also love to hear for anybody interested in working in this space so we can figure out how to lift that up. And we can't necessarily hire in a lot of people right now, but we can leverage resources. And to me, that means let's get some alums in here to help us conceptualize this and maybe serve as mentors to students who want to pursue those kind of opportunities.
How would it be best to connect our alums with some of these ideas and proposals, some of the thoughts? Is there a platform? And I know that we're going to be dropping some emails in the chat box here, but is there a platform or anything to connect and get some of those ideas that have been discussed today?
Sure. I wonder if the Chatham Connect, the platform that you have that is through Alumni Affairs, that could be a good way to do this. And maybe there are interest groups that we put on Chatham Connect so that if you're interested in working in the space of, say, international national scholarship and world readiness or intercultural learning, you let us know. And then we can start putting together the groups, advisory groups or study groups, are having faculty members and staff members work with our alums to explore some of these areas. So Chatham Connect may be a really good way to do this. And also letting our staff know in advancement what you're interested in and start building sort of that cadre of people who want to do work in the space and to get there. And Dana just posted, I noticed in the chat room, how to join or log into Chatham Connect. This is a painless way to let people know things. And also, feel free to reach out by email. You can also call any of us and let us know. If you're here in the area, are happy to meet, sit down and meet with you and hear your ideas and see how we can work together. The same for other places. I understand there's quite a few alums in different places across the country, and I look forward to going out and meeting with people and hearing what they think and how they want to help their alma mater succeed even more and prosper in the future.
We appreciate the Chatham Connect plug. Thank you so much for that. With just a couple minutes left, we have one more question for you. What would you like Chatham to be best known for in 10 years?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we know how fast things are going to change within the next 10 years. You've seen how fast it's changed in the last 10-year period. The predictions are certainly that new technologies are coming online that are going to transform the world in ways that we probably can't even imagine at this point right now, but we know they're coming. I would like for Chatham to be known as a place that is innovative and flexible and able to adapt to changing conditions and situation so that we can continue to produce students and alums who help change the world for the better.
Perfect answer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to answer some questions. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. Again, there are emails in our chat, so if you do have additional questions or ideas, please send them our way.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.